Computing is defined as a branch of engineering science that deals with the systematic study of algorithmic processes which are used to describe and transport information through a computer, an electronic machine that can store, organize, acquire, represent, process, and transmit information, perform processes with numbers and other data automatically. 3000 years before Christ, abacus. Humans have always tried to obtain devices capable of calculating. The first antecedent of the computer, the abacus, an old calculator that was used as a mechanical counting device to perform simple mathematical operations. 1642, Pascaline. Pascaline, also called arithmetic machine, was designed and built by the French mathematician philosopher Blaise Pascal. Between 1642 and 1644, it could only do addition and subtraction, with numbers being entered by manipulating its dials. 1804, Jacquard's loom. Jacquard's loom would utilize interchangeable punch cards that control the whipping of the cloth so that any desired pattern could be obtained automatically. These punch cards were adopted by the noted English inventor Charles Babbage. The Jacquard system was developed by Joseph Marie Jacquard. 1833, Charles Babbage, father of computing. The analytical engine was to be a general purpose, fully program controlled automatic mechanical digital computer. It would be able to perform any calculation set before it. The machine was designed to consist of 4 components: the mill, the store, the reader, and the printer. These components are the essential components of every computer today. The mill was the calculating unit, analogous to the central processing unit (CPU) in a modern computer. The store was where data were held prior to processing, exactly analogous to memory and storage in today's computer, and the reader and printer, were the input and output devices. 1887, Hermann Hollerith and the tabulating machine. During the 1880s, the engineer Hermann Hollerith devised a set of machines for compiling data from the United States Census. Hollerith's tabulating system included a punch for entering that data and put each person onto a blank card, a tabulator for reading the cards and summing up information, and a sorting box for sorting the cards for further analysis. It was used successfully the next year to count the results of the 1880 census. His inventions formed the starting point of a company that would become IBM. 1936, Alan Turing, father of modern computing and artificial intelligence. Turing and Church planned the idea that a machine can solve problems through algorithms. Alan Turing's works will help create the theoretical basis for computers.
Hello, I am Jesús Rojas López, and I am going to talk about the first generation of computers. Well, the first computer we have is the one named Mark I. It was designed in 1937, but it was built until 1944 by Harvard University. The thing with this computer is that it was an electromechanical one, unlike the next ones, which will be just electronic. And about electronic computers, these machines used electronic switches instead of electromechanical relays. In principle, the electronic switches will be more reliable because they have no moving parts. And even more, electronic components had one major benefit. That is that they could open and close 1000 times faster than electromechanical switches. So here we go with the electronic computers. The earliest attempt to build an electronic computer was by a professor of physics and mathematics named Atanasov in 1937. This professor, set out to build a machine that will help his graduate students in solving systems of partial differential equations. And it was by 1941 that he finally had succeeded in building this machine. Then we have the second early electronic machine. It was the Colossus. It was designed by Alan Turing for the British Army in 1943. And this machine played an important role in breaking codes used by the German army in World War II. So, then we have the electronic numerical integrator and computer. That's it, ENIAC. And let's change the slide. The ENIAC was built at the University of Pennsylvania. The work began in 1943. It was funded by the Army Ordnance Department, which needed a way to commute ballistics during World War II. This machine wasn't completed until 1945, but then it was used extensively for calculations during the design of the hydrogen bomb. Finally, we have the UNIVAC in 1951. This last computer was famous for being the first commercially successful computer. And that's it with the first generation of computers. Thank you.
Hello, I am Miguel Morales. 1965 to 1971. Third generation. Integrated circuit IC as assembly of electronic components fabricated as a single unit. The device, a transistor, and diodes, and the capacitor, and the resistor, their interconnection. 1970 to 1973, Intel 1103 and Ethernet. The newly formed Intel Jumbela's Intel 1103, the first dynamic access memory, DRAM chip. Alan Sugar leads a team of IBM engineers who embed the floppy disk. 1974 to 1977, the first personal computer. IBM and Apple were just a couple of the brands that brought the first personal computer. Microsoft is a brand. Bill Gates worked while Paul Allen in the scope of the for Atari. 1979, word processing becomes a relative. Micropro International releases WordStar. The defined change was to Martínez, the word graph. 1981 to 1983, the first IBM and Apple personal computer. Coded name and Accord. It uses Microsoft MS-DOS operating system. It has a Microsoft Intel chip, to floppy disk, an optional color monitor, marking the first time a computer is available through outside distributor. (1985 to 1989), Microsoft announces Windows. This was the company response upon GUI. This led more people come into contact with the well known program.
Hello, I am Gómez García Edgar Alfredo. In the 90s, the internet was born as we know it. A computing revolution begins with the release of the PowerBook 100 and the term Wi-Fi that allows users to connect to the internet wirelessly. 2001, Apple introduces the Mac OS X operating system. Microsoft releases Windows XP. The first 64-bit processor is launched, Athlon 64. Facebook, a social networking site, is launched. In the next 5 years, YouTube is founded. Apple introduces the MacBook Pro, its first dual-core mobile computer. Microsoft launches Windows 7, which offers the possibility of pinning applications in the taskbar. In 2010, Apple introduces the iPad, Google launches the Chromebook, Facebook gains millions of users. 2015-2017, Apple launches the Apple Watch. Microsoft releases Windows 10. The first reprogrammable quantum computer was also created. DARPA is creating a new molecular computing program. Actually, IBM introduces its first quantum computer, the IBM Q System 1.